Sarah R. Moore, Peaceful Discipline, Story Teaching, Brain Science, and Better Behavior. Most parents have heard the same advice, dressed in slightly different outfits. Don't pick them up when they're crying. They need to learn, or a good timeout will fix that behavior. Whether it comes from family, social media, or outdated parenting books, the message is that discipline means withdrawal, control, or punishment. And yet, for many caregivers, that approach feels wrong in their gut. That's why in this Blink, you'll find a different approach, one that empowers you to parent in a way that's grounded in compassion instead of fear. Here, you'll explore how to discipline without damage by leaning into empathy, brain science, and the power of storytelling. You'll learn why traditional punishments often backfire and how to co-regulate your child's emotions without losing your cool. And don't worry, this doesn't mean forgetting about boundaries. You can still strengthen your relationship and parent healthily while setting clear, respectful boundaries. If you've ever wished parenting felt less like a power struggle and more like a partnership, you're in the right place. The case for story teaching. Picture this. You walk into your child's room and find them gleefully hurling freshly folded clothes across the floor. Shocked, you start to yell and threaten consequences. Meanwhile, your child feels scared and small. You storm off, and minutes later, feel like the worst parent in the world. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Most parents find themselves trapped in cycles of yelling, guilt, and disconnection with their children. But parenting doesn't have to be this hard, and it can even be peaceful. Enter story teaching, an ancient practice that's been helping humans guide their children for thousands of years. Inuit cultures use storytelling to teach water safety, and Jesus used parables with his disciples. Storytelling has always been humanity's go-to method for passing down wisdom. Unlike modern quick-fix parenting strategies, story teaching works because it meets children how they naturally are: curious, imaginative, and absolutely enchanted by narratives. The magic lies in how perfectly stories align with children's developmental needs. Kids thrive when they feel safe, seen, soothed, and secure. These feelings all naturally emerge during storytelling. Stories also allow children to learn about emotions and navigate difficult situations in a completely safe environment, without the emotional flooding that can come from direct confrontation. This is especially powerful for sensitive children who might shut down when faced with traditional discipline methods. The timing couldn't be more important. Research shows that children's creativity has been declining in alarming ways, especially between kindergarten and third grade. Story teaching combats that by engaging their imaginations and innate curiosity. Instead of passive entertainment, interactive storytelling becomes active participation in their own growth and learning. Perhaps most importantly, story teaching offers parents a way to guide their children without judgment, shame, or punishment. Story teaching recognizes that mistakes are teachers, not failures, and that imperfect parenting is not only normal, but healthy. So, how do you actually use story teaching? First, you'll need to feel solid on a few key building blocks. The first is emotion coaching, which we'll discuss next. Emotion coaching. Imagine telling a screaming child to take a deep breath and expecting them to quiet down. You might as well tell the sun not to shine. But why does this approach fail? Well, when children become emotionally triggered, their limbic system, the brain's survival center, takes over. The frontal lobe goes offline. That's where rational thought and language live. Children literally can't talk about their feelings when their brain's language center has temporarily shut down to focus on survival. Meanwhile, kids are wired to behave unpredictably, even when they know better. Executive function skills, including impulse control, emotional expression, patience, and thinking about consequences develop in the frontal lobes of the brain. However, this part of the brain isn't fully developed until age 25. This means children are literally incapable of consistent self-control. That's where emotion coaching comes in. When parents help children identify and navigate their feelings, they're essentially providing a roadmap for healthy emotional management. The process starts simple. Describe your own emotions and also what you see in your child. For example, I'm crying because I feel sad. Or, you feel happy, I can tell by your big smile. Also discuss how characters and stories might feel. I can tell that character feels mad. His face is red and he's scowling. As children mature, add more nuance and detail. For instance, I wonder if he's also feeling embarrassed because everyone is looking at him and pointing. But timing is everything. Don't try to teach while your child is still in the middle of their feelings. Remember that during intense emotions, a kid has trouble processing words or lessons. It's better to give them space and support them with simple body-based strategies that help regulate their nervous system. For example, instead of demanding deep breaths, tell your child to pretend they're a fire-breathing dragon or buzzing like a bee. These playful actions engage the vagus nerve, which promotes relaxation. Plus, you phrase the advice in kid terms, which makes it much more likely they'll respond. Equally important, don't rush to fix their feelings. Let kids cry when they're sad. Swap "don't cry" for "I'm here for you, let it out." Show them what healthy anger looks like by modeling it yourself. I'm frustrated right now. I'm going to take a few deep breaths before I speak. And finally, shift your lens. Instead of labeling a child as disobedient, think of them as dysregulated. This reframing helps you focus on guiding them toward calm, not control. A regulated child is a teachable one, and that's the foundation every positive discipline strategy is built on. Managing your responses. Sometimes the most important parenting decision isn't what to say. It's how long you can wait before saying it. When a child acts out, the impulse to correct them instantly can be intense. But discipline delivered in the heat of frustration often backfires. It teaches fear, not wisdom. Compliance, not cooperation. When a child is doing something you'd rather they didn't, like hurling silverware, pulling out every item of clothing, or handling the dog too roughly, start with a pause. If there's no immediate safety risk, you have time to choose your response. And time is power. A calm reminder like, use gentle hands, works better than, stop that, because it tells the child what to do, not just what not to do. This kind of guidance reaches the dysregulated brain more effectively. But let's be honest, staying calm isn't always easy. That's where the HUG process comes in. H stands for hold your reaction. U stands for understand your child's perspective. And G stands for give them grace. It's a quick 3-step tool for keeping your cool when chaos hits. The pause at the beginning is essential. Even 6 seconds of stillness gives your brain a chance to exit survival mode. A deep breath, a stretch, or even a light smile can short-circuit the fight or flight response and reopen the door to connection. Next, try to understand what's really going on. Children aren't little adults with bad intentions. They're developing humans with unmet needs. Misbehavior is often a message in disguise. They might be saying, I'm tired, I'm overstimulated, I need control, or I need you. When you respond with curiosity instead of judgment, you create space for empathy and often a better solution. Remember that your child is learning how to self-regulate by watching you. What you model for them helps them learn. Picture this. You accidentally drop your dinner face down on the floor. Instead of having a meltdown, you say to the floor, "Oh, floor, if you were hungry, you could have just said so. You didn't need to go and steal my food." Your daughter hears this and cracks up and learns that she can choose how to respond to unfortunate situations. Still, There will be times you get it wrong. You snap. You overreact. That's okay. Those moments offer another kind of lesson: how to repair. A simple, shame-free apology like, "I didn't handle that well, I'm sorry," teaches your child that being wrong doesn't make you unlovable. It just makes you human and gives you both another chance to reconnect. Rethinking punishments. When a police officer pulls you over for speeding, your body floods with fear and shame. That's exactly the opposite of what you want your child to feel when you're trying to teach them something important. And yet, traditional punishment-based discipline often replicates that same dynamic. It pushed our kids away from us instead of toward us when they're struggling. Punishment rarely teaches the lesson we hope it will. Say a child leaves a toy outside, so you take away his screen time. The consequence feels disconnected from the behavior, and the child doesn't actually learn about responsibility or cause and effect. Instead, he absorbs the message that adults have power over him. Worse, he might start to believe, "I must be bad," instead of, "I made a mistake I can learn from." Over time, this chips away at his self-worth and distorts how he views relationships and authority. A better path? Let the consequence teach the lesson directly. Natural consequences are the direct results of a child's choices, like a toy breaking after being left in the driveway overnight. The experience itself provides the lesson. Logical consequences are similar, but guided by the parent, like holding on to a device after the child repeatedly breaks screen time agreements. Both types of consequence help the child learn, rather than making them pay. Discipline also becomes more effective when children help shape the rules. This doesn't mean a free-for-all. It means offering meaningful choices. For example, you might ask a toddler whether they want their bath before or after their nap. Or you might give a teen the choice between waiting for a parent-funded phone or getting a job to buy their own. When kids feel included, they're more likely to cooperate and develop responsibility. Challenging behavior is often labeled as attention-seeking. But what if it's really attachment-seeking? That's a vital developmental need, not a misbehavior. Traditional timeouts isolate kids when they most need connection. A more supportive option is a time in, a moment of co-regulation where parent and child read, play, or walk together to soothe big emotions and build emotional skills. Even the word no can be reimagined. Instead of shutting down requests with rejection, parents can offer future-oriented alternatives that respect the child's desire. Instead of saying, "We're going to the store, but you're not getting anything," try this. "If you see something you like, remind me to take a picture for your list." This approach validates children's interests while teaching delayed gratification. It builds trust that parents listen to their preferences. The key, though, is actually following through. Demonstrate that yes later really means something. How to use story teaching. By now, you've explored the core tools of peaceful discipline, emotion coaching, brain-aware responses, and co-regulation. Each of these skills helps you meet your child where they are, in emotion, play, and connection. And all of them come together in story teaching. When you tell a story about a nervous bunny or a mischievous robot, you're using empathy, regulation, and imagination to teach life lessons in the language children understand best. Story teaching works on 3 levels. Preventative stories help children prepare for challenging situations before they happen. Think helping a socially anxious child mentally rehearse before a birthday party. In-the-moment stories help ground kids and build their social-emotional skills while situations are unfolding. Finally, restorative stories help children process difficult experiences after they've happened. Timing matters here. The best moment to tell a story is when your child is calm and open. Bedtime, dim lighting, or quiet moments during the day work best. And story time doesn't need to be long. Even 10 minutes count. To really land, The story should feature characters your child cares about. Does your child battle you every night about brushing their teeth? Here's a story you might tell. 3 teeth named Kitten Elizabeth, Wonky Patonky, and Josephine Kerflufflefluff happily live in a mouth cave. But then, along comes the gigantic toothbrushing machine with its cold water and scratchy motion. Now emotion coaching begins. Kitten Elizabeth felt scared. Wonky Patonky felt mad. 2 teeth hide under their friend, tongue. Josephine, meanwhile, doesn't hide. She discovers brushing makes her sparkle. She shares enthusiastically. It felt like a massage. I feel refreshed and stronger and empowered. The next morning, Josephine tells her friends to take a deep belly breath. She says, "It'll be over by the time they sing that ABC song." The teeth succeed, and this time they feel proud and sparkly. Here comes emotion coaching again. "I feel calm and peaceful," announces Kitten Elizabeth. "I feel happy and refreshed," adds Wonky Patonky. Notice how the story structure has 5 steps. We start with a peaceful introduction where the teeth are happy. Then there's a problem, the scary toothbrush, after which the teeth explore their feelings about it. We follow with an empowering resolution where the teeth discover that brushing feels good, an emotional closure where they name their positive feelings. Remember to keep stories age-appropriate. Under 7s respond best to animal characters and simple plots. Older kids enjoy more realism or humor. And teens prefer stories based on real situations or peer dynamics. If your child resists a story or takes it off the rails, like turning a squirrel into a flying superhero, go with it. That playfulness is part of the process. Don't overdo it. You only need a few go-to stories for your household's recurring challenges, school drop-offs, bedtime routines, or sibling squabbles. Once your child knows them, a quick phrase like, "Remember Josephine Kerflufflefluff?" can be enough to redirect behavior in real time. No lecture needed. Story teaching builds emotional literacy, strengthens self-regulation, and teaches problem-solving in a low-pressure, playful way. Most of all, it builds a shared emotional language between you and your child, one story at a time. In this Blink to Peaceful Discipline by Sarah R. Moore, you've learned that parenting rooted in empathy, not punishment, fosters stronger relationships and healthier development in kids. By understanding brain science, using emotion coaching, and embracing playful tools like story teaching, caregivers can replace power struggles with connection and growth. Story teaching in particular offers a creative way to guide behavior, helping children learn through imagination, connection, and emotional safety. Children thrive when discipline focuses on guidance over control, and when misbehavior is seen as dysregulation, not defiance. Okay, that's it for this Blink. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you in the next Blink.